nrcs.usda.gov or contact your local NRCS field office. But NRCS has released the final rule for EQIP.
For generations, we've worked the land. We've faced hardships and uncertainty before, but you can depend on Florida's farmers. We will continue to rise before dawn and harvest our crops, ensuring that Florida-grown fruits and vegetables are in your stores and that your family is fed. We are providers for our families and yours. We're Florida's farmers, and we're in this together.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Today will be humid with clouds and sunshine and a high of 88 to 90. Partly cloudy, very warm and humid tonight, low 74 to 76. Warm and humid tomorrow with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Expect showers by tomorrow afternoon, high 87 to 89. Then Thursday will be warm and humid with a mix of clouds and sunshine and a high of 87 to 91. Thunderstorm around Friday morning. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
Just Shipped is expanding to its first retail location at the new Boulevard Market located on the corner of Bonnie Heath and 36th Avenue. Just Shipped will still offer the same all-inclusive services of packing and shipping your items. Don't want to get out of your car? You don't have to, because Just Shipped is offering curbside service. That's right, curbside service starting Saturday, November 7th. Go to justship.net for more information. Take the guesswork out of shipping with Just Shipped.
Oh, hey, Grandpa.
Oh, hey, Grandpa. Hey, Grandpa.
Yes, buddy?
Can you take me fishing this weekend?
I'd love to. Have you noticed a change in your hearing over the years? Missing the little things in life? Visit Beneficial Hearing in Ocala today. Their expert team of audiologists will make sure you never miss a moment. Call Beneficial Hearing today at 352-629-4418 or visit them online, beneficialhearing.com.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz. We go out to the phone lines now, and something that is a real, I kind of understand both sides of this, but I want to get the experts to tell me. Dr. Alka Chanda is on the phone with us, and we're going to talk about animal rights advocates push to end the use of monkeys in laboratories experiments. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Wonderful. I understand that primates they say that the people who use these animals for these testing say they're the closest eye-wise and stuff to humans, that you got to test for colognes and all. And I know that I watched a documentary probably in the late 80s where they would strap these monkeys down to tables and pull their eyes open and shoot alcohol-based cologne in their eye to see if their eye would burn. And I thought, well, yeah, moron, it's going to burn because you sprayed it directly into the monkey's eye. How would it not do that? That's what we're talking about, the way the living facilities, they're caged for hours for all their lives and everything. And then once their usefulness is done in laboratory experiments, they're killed. And it's kind of barbaric, isn't it?
It's absolutely barbaric. And what your listeners really need to know is that there are 100,000 monkeys, more than that, in laboratories in the United States right now. More than 100,000 laboratories, and as you say, it's barbaric. They're confined to small cages, or they're held in confined, crowded conditions, and they really never know what a normal life of freedom would look like. They're deprived of everything that would make their really bleak lives worth living. Most important of all, and I think everybody can relate to this, is they have no control over what happens to them. They're in these cages of stainless steel, barren cages. All of us who've been experiencing lockdown or just, stay-at-home orders, that sort of thing, we know what that that feels like. You can't get out. You're just staying in one place. You don't see your friends. You don't see your family members. And these monkeys are being isolated to cages for years at a time, sometimes even decades. And, if you look at the video footage, you don't have to take my word for it, but if you go to PETA.org, our website, PETA.org, and you look at the video footage that we've obtained through undercover investigations or from whistleblowers, by using Freedom of Information Act, you can see these videos and you see that these monkeys, they go insane. They go insane from the isolation. And it's horrifying.
What do you say though, doctor, to the people that say, yeah, but we need that in clinical trials and all before we get to the human trials to make sure that the humans stay safe through the clinical trials. So we need something that's real close to our DNA to help us make better medicine for humans who are, people will say, because we're at the top of the food chain. That's their go-to. So what do you say to people that say, it's a necessary evil to make sure pharmaceutical tests and all, when they get to the human trials, are as safe as they can be?
Well, I think it's natural to be concerned about our family members and our friends who are sick, and we want cures, we want treatments, we need cures, we need treatments. I mean, all of us, including all of us at PETA, we have family members. I have elderly parents, and we know what it's like to. My mother had a stroke about 5 years ago, and we know what it's like to want these treatments that help our family members. The thing is that all of us are being taken for a ride by the animal experimentation industry because, yes, they're close to us, but they're not the same as us. So they're the same as us when it comes to the bigger things, like, they feel pain just like we do. They feel fear, anxiety, suffering just like we do. They feel love like we do. But the thing is that at the cellular level, which is where disease manifests, they're different. And so results that are true in monkeys or dogs or cats or other animals are not going to be true in human beings necessarily. In fact, there's a 95% failure rate, and that's according to the National Institutes of Health, that there's a 95% failure rate where drugs that are found to be safe and effective in animals actually fail in human beings. They're either unsafe or they don't work. And, that's a huge failure rate, especially when you consider that we're funding a lot of animal experimentation through our tax dollars.
Now, when you say monkeys, are we talking about, because there's so many different varieties of monkeys, and when people, I know when I read this, that I was going to be doing this interview today, I thought, well, yeah, nobody wants Bubbles the chimpanzee to be tied down, but then you don't think about the rhesus monkeys and all the different types of monkeys. Is there one certain type of monkey they use more than any monkey, or is it a variety of monkeys that get used this way?
Yeah, it's primarily rhesus macaques and cynomolgus macaques, or they're sometimes called long-tailed macaques. So these are two macaque species that are frequently used. They're the most widely used monkeys in laboratories. These are animals who are intelligent, they're sensitive, they're social beings. When they're in nature, they explore, they socialize, they love each other, they spend a lot of time in close contact, grooming each other, going and finding food. They wander around, they swim, they do all of these things. And in laboratories, all of this doesn't happen. Instead, they're living in constant fear, they're suffering through painful experiments, and eventually they're all killed. So this is an absolute horror show for them. Some people call it psychological torture, and it really is psychological torture. What we see in laboratories, is monkeys, because they can't control anything else. What they do is they tear out their hair, or they'll bite at their own bodies, self-mutilation. It's because that's something they can control. And so for us as a civilized country to be doing this and, wasting our tax dollars and not getting anything for it at the end is really, really wrong. And it needs to change. This is not all doom and gloom, though, because we live in the age of sophisticated human-based research methods that actually allow us to study the causes and treatments of disease in human beings without tormenting these sensitive, vulnerable animals. And, PETA has helped fund the development and the validation and the implementation of these methods that are human relevant. They're faster, cheaper, and more reliable than animal tests.
Doc, we're talking with Dr. Alka Chanda. Doctor, I'll be honest with you. I am not the biggest fan of PETA. I'm going to be upfront and honest with you because I think sometimes PETA has a very good message with these things like these monkeys. I 100% don't think you should strap a monkey anywhere or force them to do anything under the name of science that isn't very good in the first place, and then you kill the animals and all. I'm so against that. I'm 100% behind PETA when it comes to stuff like that. But sometimes the message of PETA gets lost in some of the protest of drinking milk at the Indianapolis 500 and all. How can PETA help itself here to get guys like me who see the need for something like this? I'm 100% behind you. I'll help you any way I can to stop this. What do you say to guys like me that to tweak the message a little to get us to understand that this really is a problem? It's not just about drinking milk at the Indianapolis 500.
Right. Some of the protests that we do, they are kind of crazy. And I know that, some of my family members, will look at me like, you did what? And I get that. But, we live in this age where, the media is like, what's crazy? What's happening? Everything's so sensational these days. And so, PETA will do things that just keep the animals message out there. And that's really what we're all about. We want people to know what's going on, because we know that most people are like you. Most people are kind. Most people don't want to see animals tormented, especially Americans. We are big-hearted people. We care about animals. We know animals as friends. We grow up with dogs and cats. They're family members, and then we see other animals and we see that there's so much like us in the ways that matter. When I'm sick, my cats are all over me and they're helping me out. And so, that's really the message, that we should pay attention to the fact that these animals matter, that they feel pain and they suffer just like we do, and they deserve to have a life of freedom like all of us. So what I would say is that we have more in common than we have different.
Different, 100%.
Yeah, and I can hear from your voice, when you're talking about that horrible experiment that you saw. Yes, you are a decent human being, that you cringed.
It did. It made me cringe. We got about 20 seconds. I just want you to know that this is something that I could get behind 100%. You don't need to do this to monkeys and all, especially when even the people, not PETA, but the national board say it's not effective. You don't need to do it. And hey, by the way, go out and rescue an animal from an animal shelter while we're talking about animals. Go out and rescue an animal from an animal shelter. Doctor,
God bless you for saying that.
Dr. Alka Chanda, I'll get it right eventually. Thanks for coming on with us this morning.
What a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Mm-hmm. Have a good day. Well, that's going to wrap up another version of Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz. See you tomorrow.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
Amy Coney Barrett has been confirmed as the nation's 115th Justice on the Supreme Court.
My fellow Americans, even though we judges don't face elections, we still work for you. I will do my job without any fear or favor, and that I will do so independently of both the political branches and of my own preferences. I love the Constitution and the Democratic Republic